Gá bhélas a deich pá péir dó ceiste ní. In this question, we're asked to find the total amount of wood that we need to construct the roof truss. So first of all, looking at our diagram, we're given two different measures. We're given the angle of 35 degrees and we're given the length of AC, which is 6 meters. So the other information that we're given is that the measure of AD is equal to DE, which is equal to EC. So our 6 meters is divided up into 3 equal parts. We're then told that AF is equal to FB, is equal to BG, is equal to GC. The first part of the question asks us to find the length of AB. So the first tip for doing this kind of question is when you have a diagram, it can sometimes be easier to draw just sketches of parts of it in order to solve problems. So I'm looking around the length of AB and looking at what I have. I have my angle of 35 degrees and I have 6 meters. So as well as having 6 meters, I know that AD is equal to 2, DE is 2, and EC is 2, because as we said, it's divided into 3 equal parts. But I also know that from A to the midpoint of AC is going to give me 3. So what I'm going to do is just draw a sketch of a right angle triangle, with AB being the tabugon, the hypotenuse. From A to the middle is midway between DE, so that gives me a measure of 3. And I have my angle of 35 degrees. So I'm just going to let the length of AB be equal to x, and I'm going to be using the cosine of the angle to find x. So cosine of 35 is equal to 3 over x. X multiplied by the cosine of 35 is equal to 3. So therefore x is equal to 3 divided by cosine 35. So putting that into the calculator, I get 3.6623. So in the question, they've asked me to give it to 2 decimal places. So my final answer for that part is going to be x is equal to 3.66 meters. And I always have to include our units in those questions. So now I have the length of AB, I also have the length of BC. So I'm just going to make a note of all the different measures that I need to find. So starting off with the point A, we need AB to find the total length, which we have. We need BC. We need AC. So moving on to the parts that we don't know FD and we don't know DB. So let's discuss how we're going to find them. Again, I'm going back to my diagram. I'm picking out or seeing what triangle I need to use in order to find FD. So the first one that stands out is a small triangle. So again, I'm just going to draw my sketch. So filling in what I know. I have 35 degrees. I also know the measure of AF because we have the total length AB, which is 3.66. So AF is going to be 3.66 divided by 2. That will give me 1.83. So I have my angle. I have 1.83 for AF. I also know that AD is equal to 2. So again, all I've done is taken a triangle from the main diagram and I've filled in what I have. Now it's easier to kind of notice what I need to do in order to find FD. So the pattern that I look for is that if I have an angle on 2 sides at either side and I'm looking for the opposite side, I'm going to be using my cosine rule. So our cosine rule we'll find in our log tables. So all I'm going to do is go back to my diagram and label everything so I can substitute everything in. So 35 is going to be A, my angle, so therefore FD is going to be the smaller side A because it corresponds to the angle. And then I label my other 2 sides, so B and C. And now I can substitute it. So A is what I'm looking for, so I can't fill anything in for that. B squared is 1.83 squared. C squared is 2 squared minus 2BC and cosine 35. So A squared, when we simplify everything here we have on the right, we get 1.3489 plus 4 minus 5.9962. And to simplify further, this is going to give us 1.3527. So therefore A is equal to the square root of all of that. So we find A is equal to 1.1631. So now we have the length for FD. Okay, so going back to our main question. Now we have our FD, which we know is going to be equal to EG. So we have these two lengths. So the only missing length that we need to find is DB, which will be equal to BE. And then we can just add everything together. So to find DB, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I look at the key information that I'm given. Again, my angle, I know AD is 2, and I'm going to pick out another triangle from the diagram in order to find DB. So the triangle I'm going to pick out this time is going to be ABD. Again, filling in what I'm given, our 35-degree angle. We found AB was 3.66, and we know AD is 2. So I'm looking for the same kind of patterns to decide whether I'm going to use cosine rule or sine rule. So when I have an angle in between two sides, and I'm looking for the side that's opposite, I'm using my cosine rule. I'm going to my graph to label what I have. I have my angle A, my adjacent side A, or my opposite side A. We have B and C, and now I substitute in. So to simplify, so we can't forget at the end, that's all equal to A squared. So A is equal to the square root again. So now we know that BD is equal to 2.3245. So now that we've found all of the different lengths, we mustn't forget to add them all together in order to find the total length that we need to make the roof truss. So we know that AB is equal to BC, so we've 2 by 3.66. The length along the bottom was 6. 2 by 1.1631 is 2 by 2.3245. So the total length is going to be equal to 20.2952 meters.